whilst where we started Joy News Interactive. But you're welcome to Joy News Interactive. My name is Miss G, and I am your entertainment generalist. Thursday, we'll be talking about all the interesting and important news so far this week, including the fact that we'll be crossing over to the NDC press conference, bringing you the reaction to all the conversation the president had with the media on Tuesday. So as you can see on your screen, all is set for this interaction with the media from the National Democratic Congress. They will be reacting to all that the president had said when he had the opportunity to interact with the media earlier this week. So when the speaker is ready, we definitely will cross over. Either the chairman of the party or the general secretary will be addressing the press. And so definitely we'll bring you all that later when everything is set for the NDC to roll. Now, back here in the studio, we're asking, is the EC chair in hot waters? It appears so, because we will be taking your views on this and a lot more. You're live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 144. We're also streaming live on our Facebook page. It's Joy News on TV. You can do well to post your comment both on our Facebook and Twitter handles, Joy News on TV. Now, let's start with the EC chair. Now, Electoral Commission Chair Charlotte says seems to be in some kind of trouble. Some unnamed workers at the Electoral Commission are demanding her impeachment, among other things. They allege that the EC chairperson in many instances breached the procurement law in procuring goods and services for the commission. Lawyer of Madame Charlotte Osei Tados, says the content of the petition, which serves as basis for her impeachments, are defamatory and injurious. Well, the EC chair is obviously prepared to fight back and fight hard. You've been sharing your thoughts on the issue. Let's get to read them. And Manko says, I think they should do proper investigation and let things be clear. If she deserves to be sacked, thank you. And Joe Dunyo says, that's witch hunting, political interference. We know them, and where are those so-called workers of the EC who are hiding behind this agenda just to rig the 2020 election because you can't fulfill your numerous promises? And Agbe says, impeachment by who? Unnamed workers, investigation and impeachment on petition by unnamed workers. You think this will stand? I do remember those who opposed her appointment. I'm not surprised by this, but it won't go anywhere. He who digs a pit for a brother will fall inside. And Damango says, the fact of the matter is the so-called workers should show up and come out clearly what are the faults of the EC chair. Ghana can never be like the other developed countries should this continue. As a matter of fact, the position of the EC chair should not be influenced by any political party. On a more serious note, Nanado can even appoint, And Gideon says, but I thought Sorry and Law was supposed to represent the EC and not the EC chair. Any lawyer here, please help, you're asking. And Jonathan says, she has a very legal right to fight back. And Kaku says, if she faltered, let the law must work. If she's just being denigrated, the law should deal with the perpetrators. Simple. And those are comments from you concerning the EC chair issue, the fact that some workers want her impeached. But President Akufo-Addo, since the 2016 election campaign, has stressed the need for a special prosecutor. The minority in Parliament is, however, calling for the withdrawal of the office of the special prosecutor bill over what it says is a pathetic treatment of the bill. Now, the MPs were served copies of the bill for the rigorous deliberation, and we have posted this on social media. Let's take your concerns on this issue. And Yeboah Solomon says, I agree with them for speaking their mind, but as the saying goes, the minority will have the say and the majority will have their way. Hey, democracy in Ghana, the BKK. And Mensa says, it should be withdrawn because you don't have copies of it within a day. Why not just ask for copies to start to deliberate on its content? Have they assumed a position even before opening it? And Martin says, yes, only if that office is going to be politically influenced. It is going to be politically influenced. No, if it's going to be free from government appointees and influence. Also, Amwako says, they are afraid. I have started building a big prison for the state with my own money. And any MP who will vote against the special prosecutor's bill is a thief, period. And Akufo-Addo himself, okay, and they're afraid of Insawam, says Williams, and Amwako says, I'll build a big prison for the state. Okay, you have said that already. And what's the fear for? Omama is asking, and I agree with them 100%. So those are comments from you. Now, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has made a proposal which doesn't seem to go well with some African football fans. The Confederation is proposing that the African Cup of Nations be hosted by countries outside the continent. Rich countries such as China, Qatar, and the USA are targeted to host, while 3 countries are invited to participate as guests. This, according to CAF, is to improve the finances for the AFCON and make it more attractive. What do you think about this? And Solomon says, in the first place, what made those countries so rich? Africa is just losing it. Wrong move. The name is Africa Cup of Nations and not Intercontinental Cup of Nations. CAF leaders should better think outside the box, find some monies within the member nations and stop the lazy and shameful type of approach. And Eben Soga says, who even brought up this idea? Tell me which of the CAF executives slept and woke up with this idea in his mind. Please find out his name and telephone number. I must talk to him or her. Evidence says impossible. Why do Africans hate the locally made goods and services? They always want to work for others. We always want to be slaves working for others. When the money used to transport the players and the management team to those countries be used for developmental projects? Abba, Africa. And this is the slavery mentality. Will North America ever come and play their tournaments in Africa, let alone involve Ghana in their tournament? Looks like our CAF leaders have run out of ideas, and the earlier they replaced, the better. And Dan says this is completely okay. So the leadership of CAF should rather give out the administration to FIFA, since they can't think out of the box. And the Yendi says this is a lay way of making money and a mockery of ourselves. Are they saying they don't have a marketing and brand department? Don't they know how to psych the minds of Africans to patronize the competition? Let's just tell them to colonize us again. We have elected, okay. Chumesi says, oh, Africans, when are we going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery? This clearly shows that we are still suffering from the bondage of colonialism. God have mercy on Africa. And money to speak, continent is poor to host our own, and we want other rich continents to do the hosting of this event, I'm sure you were saying. And John says, complete nonsense. Okay. So a lot of you are not enthused or happy about this decision, and it's unbelievable how. No wonder we Africans are used as slaves. Some of our leaders are okay, and this is to make African people and generation unborn become total slaves to white men. Africa should stand on their own and develop their land. It's obvious the CAF president and his entourage have turned deaf ears to Manasseh Azuri's long essay on why it is senseless to host African events on other continents. I think Manasseh should write again, this time to the BBC, CNN, and Al Jazeera. They will hear. Beidu says, wow, no doubt we see these inherent slavery going on. If African nations are not worthy of or can't host the tournament, then we are heading in the wrong direction. And Anna Wusu says, instead of finding a way to advertise properly what we have as African, we are seeking greener pastures. This is uncalled for. It's a shame to we Africans. Festus says, 2 simple questions to CAF. 1, what then will be the tournament's name? 2, what if the invitee wins the trophy? And Adam says, this is why Africans will always be slaves to whites. Instead of thinking of getting more World Cup slots, listen to what them they talk. And everything about Africa is just, you're not happy. Why should what belongs to African countries be hosted in Asia or Europe? And it's just, okay, so too many comments with harsh words there, but we'll move on to some other issues. Now, to all Christians waiting for the second coming of Christ, the wait is over. Jesus Christ is here, live and in flesh. But the thing is, he's a Nigerian based in Lagos and has great plans for Nigeria. Take a look at the interview he had with Sahara TV.
My human name, the name with which I am born, is Omowole Christian Isaac, son of Omogoroye. Today I am appearing to the whole world as the one and only Son of God, expected back to life. And I come in the new name of God as documented in the only living book, the Holy Bible, Revelation, chapter 3, verse 17, chapter 2, verse 5, chapter 2, verse 7, chapter 2, verses down to the end of the book of Revelation. What I am trying to say is that, I repeat, I am the awaited Jesus Christ.
Since you're the awaited
Period.
Jesus Christ, what's your mission here?
My mission here is to let the world know that Christ is back. Human beings are expecting Christ to return from the sky. Whatever you do here and you blow it out is the sky. The people are expecting to see Christ. No human born of women shall come from sky downward. The Bible has spoken in a parable, and that is why I am here to decode the parable of God in the book of Revelation.
Definitely, I know you have some comments or some reaction to this Jesus Christ who's just surfaced in Nigeria. Let's see what you've been saying. And Muslims, we are wrong not knowing Jesus is a Christian. Sunday, to church and dance because Jesus is back as a Christian, and he has tagged some of his friends. Christian, you guys have won the debate. Jesus is here on earth, and he is not a Muslim, as Muslims claim, but he is a Christian. And Muslims, let's all join them in church and worship Jesus. And Yaima says, today's pastors cry, I don't know what is wrong with them. The other time someone made a call and spoke to Jesus. In another instant, the pastor said he killed Satan in hell. So more Satan. So no more Satan. Pastors and prophets. Yeah, Brem, why? And Samed Bambakia says, this man is not the only confused person in recent day, because some people also giving dates in which the world was going to end. Some attempted walking on water as Jesus did. Freedom of speech, and you're saying welcome back to Aisha, definitely. And Brima says, hey, end times are near indeed. I can say and do anything. High fever. Okay, so Ejefon says, who? This one, I would have gone to worship my own father instead. At least he's more handsome. Christians are bread. And Palm Wine Kofi says, hey, God is the greatest. Well, I'm already aware the Bible says that, okay. And you said in the end time, the Bible says we'll see false prophets. Nidoko says, is it serious at all? Please let him read the scripture well. There are some sin against the Holy Spirit that are not forgiven. And that'll be it for today's edition of Joyous Interactive.